FLEXBOX Froggy. Okay, cool. So as you can see by today's GIF, we got a little frog-based learning today. Web design can sometimes feel like this. That's normal. So if you're feeling this way, keep in mind that that's how it goes sometimes. We talked about the entry task. How can learning via gaming be helpful? Because that's what we're going to do today after I have just a brief little bit of yap sesh. Okay? Today's daily tasks are strictly to complete as far as you can on the game FLEXBOX Froggy with two major CSS properties and values. The most helpful are going to be justify content and align items, because with these two, you can start moving the parts of your web pages around inside of the FLEXBOX that I showed you earlier this week, or that you might have created based off resources that you found earlier this week. Your outcomes from today are most importantly practicing aligning those flex items, which is another word for the children in the parent-children relationship. And then, like our entry task suggests, learning via gaming. Okay. Your assignment, technically, for today is to tell me the max level of FLEXBOX Froggy that you hit, plus a question on the exit task. You don't have to turn anything like official in. You don't have to write anything with the stuff you've learned, blah, blah, blah. Your exit task is how you post today's assignment, in quotes, okay? And the methods of doing that assignment are guessing and checking, asking your neighbors and me, and then using all of the available resources that you can find or that you have access to, okay? I'm going to start with the tracking slide, and we'll come back to why and the exit task a little bit later. You know you're getting it after today because you can start to see how to move flex items. Ooh, that was a little warm, sorry. Flex items around inside of a FLEXBOX. A lot of the web design stuff that we're going to keep repeating, it's going to start to sound like a broken record, are these dividers, are these different types of alignment pieces, because you want to tell your website to put this thing here or put that thing there, okay? That's where a lot of the design part comes in, and we'll talk about that a little bit more into March, is the actual design part. But you know you're getting it after today because you can start to see how to move these flex items around in a FLEXBOX. You get to practice some new style rules, specifically alignment and justify, and you know you're getting it because you're able to complete at least some Froggy levels. I'll show you the first three, and then there are 24 in total. You absolutely do not have to get all the way to 24, but I want you to try to get to 24, okay? And you can know you are applying what you're learning by adjusting your own work, adjusting your own A4 div practice, adjusting your own code that you're just writing without an actual assignment to include some of these FLEXBOX alignments and justifications, okay? We'll get to the why here in just a second. So if you go to Thursday, you're going to see two things in resources underneath the PowerPoint. FLEXBOX Froggy is the free one I want you to do today. And FLEXBOX Zombies is another game, but that one requires an account, and I couldn't get it to work on school Wi-Fi. So if you want to check that one out at home, that's another more fun way to practice some of this CSS FLEXBOX stuff. I'll show you justify content at the beginning right here on Live Lesson, but I've added a link for align items because by the time I finish talking, we haven't really got that deep into align items, but FLEXBOX Froggy will help you figure out along the way, okay? Your job is to play the game to arrange the parents and the children within the FLEXBOX. And you can see how fourth period got their lesson right here in the video. So if we go to FLEXBOX Froggy and we ignore that I'm at level 1, don't look at the spoilers, it's a spoiler. Okay. What I showed you earlier in the block week is the idea that these divs can have a property set to, or a display property set to flex, right? Which changes the way that the children inside of that parent container relate to one another, especially via like space or size of our viewport. I want you to think of this navy blue pond as a big div container. It's a FLEXBOX. So it's the same thing I showed you earlier this week, except it's called pond, okay? It's a flex pond. All of the frogs inside of the flex pond are children of that parent element, okay? So they're all nested within each other, and they're all elements like you would be moving around on your specific pages. It's given you, on the right, in the green section, a lot of the code that you already need. I guess, sorry, that's the left. It's my right. On the left, it's given you a lot of the code that you need to complete. And it also gives you hints on both properties and values that you can do to get our lonely froggy here onto the lily pad that matches their color. Okay? So we're going to be using, to start off, justify content, which is a big fancy way of saying move it to a specific spot. Okay? When you are typing in a Word document or any type of when you're not writing by hand, you have your text justified either to the left, to the right, or to the middle, right? Think of that while you're kind of attaching new meaning to this word justify right here. If you click on justify content, you're going to see the different values that you can set that property to. Remember, properties are the things that you're changing, and values are the thing that you're changing it to. And they're all going to be in selectors, okay? A lot of this is recovery from the block day lesson. So if you need a reminder on properties, selectors, properties, and values, check out that video from last week, or ask me or ask a neighbor. You're going to see a bunch of different values right here that will allow us to move our froggy to the lily pad. And I'm going to type them all out. You can also just, I'm just going to type them out so you can see how we're doing. So we're going to go justify content. And by default, flexes are set to the flex start. You can see right here, if you click on justify content, it says flex start default. So if I click that and I add it on here, nothing's going to change because it's already set to that default value. However, if I want to try something like center and move my froggy to the center, it's not quite to the lily pad, but it is moved. And that's how you practice CSS flexboxes, is with this game, okay? If we imagine our flex pond as having a start all the way on the left and an end all the way on the right, and we know justify content justify content to the center didn't get our frog where we needed to go, which of these do you think is going to get my frog to the end of my flex container? Flex end, exactly. So by setting my justify content to the value of flex end, it's going to put my froggy on the lily pad right here. Go ahead and click next. I'm going to show you the first three. Don't look at that, it's a secret. It's a spoiler. Don't look. Now we have two children. We got a green frog and a yellow frog, all in the same flex container. We're using justify content again, and we're trying to get them into these specific lily pad spots. Looking at where you want your content to go, do we think this is in the middle? Yes or no? Yeah. So if we look at justify content, which of these words sounds like the middle? Center. So let's try that. If we click justify content and then click center, it's going to put that property in the CSS container, then that value in the CSS container, and it's going to get our froggies to where they need to go. Okay? Don't look at the third one. It's a spoiler. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. Okay. Now we have three children. We got green, yellow, and red. We need to get them to their specific green, yellow, and red positions. Okay? This is where you can start to adjust the space around your children's, the children elements. Okay? Like I mentioned with block level elements and with a flex container, they're going to take up as much space as they have available. So all the way over here on the edge of my, not that one, there we go. On the edge of my pond to the edge of my pond. It's going to take up as much as it can, okay? If I wanted to space these frogs evenly across that space, I can do that with justify content. So if I go justify content, colon, we'll go space dash around, or space, what did I say, evenly? Let's go space evenly. And what that's going to do is evenly space out my flex children in the available space. However, the position I'm going for isn't evenly spaced. So you can see yellow is happy, but green and red are kind of hanging off their lily pads a little bit. There are two other space type values that you can set. Let's try space between. Space between's a little bit too far because it's adding equal space between all of the elements. If we had more frogs, that space would be smaller because it's going to divide by the number of children. Okay, so we know that space evenly didn't work, and we know space between didn't work. That only leaves the process of elimination space around. Adding even space around each of the children that are justified in the flex container. Okay? The rest of them are up to y'all. Get as far as you can. I'll go over the why part of the PowerPoint a little bit later, as well as on your exit task. I'm not worried about you maximizing or completely mastering FLEXBOX Froggy. This is practice, okay? Help each other out. So if you get 2 more levels done, or if you get all 24 levels done, it's the same amount of points in the gradebook. You'll learn more the more levels you complete, but you're not going to lose points if you don't do every single level, okay? Hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully you get me on that. Once you finish with FLEXBOX Froggy, if you want to try and get FLEXBOX Zombies working, it's a very similar idea and vibe, just a little bit different content, so to speak. But that's what we're doing today. And kind of see where we're at around 12, I think 55 or so. And that'll give us 10 minutes for exit task and the why. And yeah, that will be our Thursday. And then we have something fun again tomorrow because it's Friday. Before you get started, if you haven't already, just as a reminder, I'm not here Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of next week. And next week we do not have school on Friday. So you do have school tomorrow, but we don't have it on Friday the 13th. Okay? So I won't be here. I'll only be here on Monday. So Miss Cameron and Jake, as well as the sub, will all be aware of what you're doing and listen to them, obviously. But yeah, I won't be here Tuesday through Thursday, and you'll just have a project to work on, and then we'll pick back up when I return. Okay? So go ahead and get started. Get as far as you can on FLEXBOX Froggy. Not a test. You can ask me questions. You can help each other out. But get as far as you can in the levels.
Garden, CSS2, and other games are made by CodePit.
Yeah, they're pretty cool, huh? It's a useful team. Okay, good luck. To reiterate, oh, we're frozen. My bad. Reiterate, even though if you're still finishing up your FLEXBOX Froggy, why we're doing this, or how you know that you are understanding what I'm asking you to understand, okay? You can start to see how to move these flex items, the frogs, around within the box, and the locations are on your page are the lily pads. So in your future arrangement activities or in future arrangement practices, think of those lily pads as like a target and then move the flex child that you're trying to move, or the flex item, excuse me, to that specific spot, okay? You practice some FLEXBOX style rules. You got alignment, justify, order, flex direction, wrap. You got a whole bunch of cool stuff out of FLEXBOX Froggy. And if you were able to complete some levels, which I saw everybody was, you know you're getting it today. You can start applying it if you'd like. This is additional, not required, by adding flex rules and flex direction type stuff to your existing A4 code. You do not have to do that, but you know the formulas, and you can start putting the formulas into spaces that are a little bit less regulated or a little bit less structured and see what they do. And like a scientist, kind of guess and check and see what you observe as you make changes to your experiment, okay? Why are we doing this? I value, and I think I've been doing a lot of talking these last couple of weeks. I really value that you learn by doing it instead of me yapping the whole time and you trying to figure it out and blah, blah, blah. I think it's way more important that you try it and see what you learn about whatever I'm trying to teach you about. I think this is a little bit more fun than me talking the entire period. Hopefully you agree, doing FLEXBOX Froggy. What I like about the structure of the game is that it starts really simple and then gets more and more complex and more advanced and helps you a little bit less. So you can start actually applying what you've been learning, and it will stick a little bit more because you've had repeated practice. It's a little bit easier than something we've done or the things we've done these last few weeks, and it's kind of an alternative to the way we've been, again, just to reiterate, doing things the last few weeks. Your exit task that I need you to do before you leave is to tell me the highest FLEXBOX Froggy level that you reached, and what did you learn as a result of playing the game, okay? If you do not finish the game, that is fine. I just want to know how far you got. And again, it's worth the same amount of points if you got to level 4 versus if you got to level 24, because I want you to more experiment with the FLEXBOX on your own terms and tell me what you observed. Because if you put it in your words, that's how I know you for sure are understanding it. Okay? I'll check exit task completion at 1 o'clock, and then that's when you'll be able to get your phones for the last 5 minutes. And we'll go from there. So, great job today, y'all. Nicely done.